Banda seteledeaha, rivroko paradeyada. Thank you, Lord Jesus. I welcome you all to part 4 of my explanation in bringing insight and understanding to the scriptures. All right, and I'm here for your deliverance, so you can have precise, accurate knowledge of God. Okay, so if you have seen this video for the first time, it means you are not seen other previous videos, and so I will encourage you to try and make a search for other previous videos. Thank you. But it is part 4, continuation from part 3. So I'll be continuing from where I stopped in part 3. I was bringing explanation by God's Spirit to the firmaments, all right? And I read Genesis chapter 1 verse 6 and verse, I've not read verse 7. I think I've read verse 6. So I'm going to read verse 6 and 7 now. All right? And God said, let there be firmament. This is verse 6. In the midst of the waters, and let it divide the waters from the waters. I have explained this extensively in part 3. The division of the waters from the waters by the firmament and what the composition of the firmaments are. All right? So, now, verse 7. And God made the firmament and divided the waters which were under the firmaments from the waters which were above the firmament, and it was so. Thank you, Lord Jesus. Did you notice the tenses used there in verse 7? It says, and God made the firmament. There is the making of the firmament, comprising of compositions of gases that represents atmosphere in our present world now, as we will call it. Composition of various gases made of the firmaments, all right? And it is being made from in stratas, all right? From this level above the ground up. It's in stratas, all right? There are different compositions and components of those gases that made up the firmaments. Empty space, all right? Up to give us space, allowance, all right? It was made. There was a making. There was a making of it. There was a making of the firmament. There was a making of it. And the firmament comprises from the above ground level up. And I said in my previous video, part 3, that the density of those gases, or the making of that of the atmosphere, differs from below up, gradually up. And when you get to the last end of the firmament, the gases there becomes more thicker, heavier, and impenetrable, that has the ability to bounce you back. Just keep bouncing you back, all right? Now, you have to also understand that as the firmament was spread up, it was spread sideways too. Because the waters that were divided up and down. So if it was divided up and down, there will be a cutting up of some waters up and a cutting down of some water down, all right? And a space to the sideways, to the two sideways. All right. Meanwhile, the creation of the firmament too was what brought about the division, right? And make it to be spread. All right. So it's dividing it up to down to sideways. So the way you find the firmament, the composition of the firmament being so dense in stratas, all right, up, okay, you also find it made sideways like that. All right, it's made sideways like that. Okay, so separating this earth and the things here from the things up and on the sides. So if you get to the extreme ends of the world or the earth, on the both sides, you cannot move out. You can move out. There will be restraint. There will be restraint by the level of density of gas composition that made up the firmaments up and sideways. All right, so that is the insight you should be able to get here. All right, I will read verses 6 and 7 again. And God said, let there be a firmament in the midst of the waters, and let it divide the waters from the waters. Meanwhile, remember, as we've said earlier, the waters we are talking about here, it's the previous earth, okay? So it has to be divided for a new formation of earth, okay? Because that was already without form, and we need a new formation, all right? So, and God made the firmament. We've spoken about the making of the firmament, and divide the waters. Through that making of the firmament, He divided the waters which were above that firmament that was made, meaning the last final level up and side that was made, all right, to separate the waters up there, okay, to divide the waters up there, and also from the waters which were above the firmament. So the waters which were under the firmament and the waters which were above the firmament. So the firmament created that separation, divide, all right. The firmament, as it was being made that division. So we are going to go into other facts that you should note, and I will start it up here, but I think I'm going to finish it up in part 5, all right? So the firmament has been made now. Waters above has been separated from the waters below, all right? So we have nothing to do with waters above again. Now we want to concentrate on the waters below now, because this is where they are going to inhabit. The inhabitant of the new earth are going to inhabit, all right? So okay, so now we are going to continue that from verse 8. And God called the firmament heaven, and the evening and the morning were the second day. So the firmament was being called heaven now. So from the starters up. Meanwhile, this is not the invisible heaven, the spiritual. This is the created heaven. You can see the difference now. This heaven being spoken about here is the firmament, is the created heaven. So you can't see it from here up. Is the created heaven, is the firmament. From here up, all right, from beneath the ground up is the created heaven. You can see it, you can feel it, but it's the created heaven, okay? It's not the spiritual heaven. It's totally different, all right? Okay, so that brings an end to our part 4.